Welcome to another episode of Psych with Sigmund, where we delve into the fascinating realm of psychology to better understand ourselves and those around us. Today, we're going to explore a phenomenon that affects us all at some point in our lives: hindsight bias. You might have experienced it without even realizing it, that feeling of, "I knew it all along," after an event has occurred. But what exactly is hindsight bias, and why is it so crucial in psychology? Hindsight bias refers to the tendency for people to believe, after an event has occurred, that they would have predicted or prevented it. It's as if we rewrite our own history, convincing ourselves that we had the foresight to see it coming, even when we didn't. This concept is essential in psychology because it reveals how our brains process information, especially when it comes to decision-making and learning from past experiences. The concept of hindsight bias emerged in psychological theory in the 1970s, with significant contributions from psychologists like Baruch Fishoff and Ruth Bath. They demonstrated that people tend to overestimate their ability to predict outcomes after they have occurred, a phenomenon known as the knew-it-all-along effect. This bias has been extensively studied since then, and it's now recognized as a fundamental aspect of human cognition. From a theoretical perspective, hindsight bias can be explained by several psychological frameworks. One key theory is the concept of cognitive dissonance, which suggests that people tend to experience discomfort when their beliefs or actions are inconsistent with new information. To reduce this dissonance, we often revise our memories to make them more consistent with what we now know. Another relevant framework is the idea of mental time travel, which proposes that our brains have a unique ability to simulate past and future events. However, this ability can lead to distortions in our perception of past events, making us believe we knew something was going to happen when, in fact, we didn't. Research has provided significant insights into hindsight bias. A classic study by Fishoff, 1975, asked participants to predict the outcome of a historical event, such as the outcome of the American Civil War, before and after being told the actual outcome. The results showed that participants who were told the outcome beforehand tended to believe they would have predicted it correctly, even if their initial predictions were incorrect. More recent studies have replicated these findings using various methodologies, including brain imaging technique. For example, a study published in the journal Neuron used functional magnetic resonance imaging, fMRI, to examine the neural basis of hindsight bias, and found that activity in areas related to memory retrieval and decision-making was associated with increased confidence in post-hoc predictions. Understanding hindsight bias has numerous practical applications in our daily lives. For instance, it can help us become more aware of our own biases when making decisions or evaluating past events. In personal relationships, recognizing hindsight bias can prevent us from jumping to conclusions about why a partner left us or why a friendship ended. By acknowledging the potential for distorted thinking, we can develop more realistic expectations and avoid unnecessary blame or self-blame. In therapeutic settings, cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, often involves identifying and challenging distorted thought patterns, including those related to hindsight bias. Therapists can help clients recognize how their memories of past events may be influenced by current knowledge, leading to more accurate appraisals of their experiences. Additionally, understanding hindsight bias can inform the development of decision-making strategies that take into account our natural tendency to overestimate our predictive abilities. So, what can we do to mitigate the effects of hindsight bias in our daily lives? First, it's essential to keep a record of our predictions or decisions before outcomes are known. This can be as simple as writing down your thoughts about an upcoming event or keeping a journal. Second, we should strive to remain open-minded and consider alternative perspectives, especially when evaluating past events. Finally, acknowledging the limitations of our predictive abilities can help us become more humble and less prone to overconfidence. In conclusion, hindsight bias is a pervasive psychological phenomenon that affects how we remember and interpret the past. By understanding this concept, we can become more aware of our own biases and develop strategies to overcome them. Recognizing our tendency to distort past events can lead to better decision-making, improved relationships, and a more nuanced understanding of ourselves and others. As my colleague Daniel Kahneman once said, the hindsight bias is a powerful force that distorts our perception of the past. By acknowledging this force, we can work towards a more balanced and accurate view of reality. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, may your ego find balance between pleasure and reality.